We're just under 30 hours away from the tip-off of the Western Conference Finals, and oh baby, I cannot wait. The Nuggets, the Lakers, it all goes down tomorrow. But before it gets underway, LeBron James, he spoke to reporters just moments ago.
What's the difference for you guys between a series, getting to figure out matchups and exploiting how you're going to play versus just a regular season kind of?
It's just health. It's all boiled down to health with myself and AD in this franchise since we joined each other 5 years ago, or was it 4 years ago? 4 years ago. So it's always come down to health.
You're with a familiar face with KCP in this series. What makes him an effective player, a winning player?
His energy. His energy is second to none. He plays at a high level every single game. His availability. He's always in uniform, and that's what separates him from a lot of guys in our league. He pretty much plays every game. And he's very experienced. So we know what we're going against when it comes to him. And he plays the game the right way.
You know, from 2020, Bron, you guys only have 2 active players left when you met the Nuggets. They only have 3 rotational players. What's different about the Nuggets from that year?
They're better, but they were great then, and they're great now. But I think Joker has gotten 2 more years under his belt. Jamal has gotten back to his regular form after the injury, and the rest of those guys have been playing exceptional basketball. So, they're really good team.
How has Jokic evolved in the last couple of years, 3 years in his game, would you say?
He's continued to get better.
Beyond the obvious part, 4 wins to win a series. How do you feel like going to Memphis and winning a game, going to San Francisco and winning a game, help you out in the first 2 rounds? Get one of those first 2 before you get back to Crypto.
Every experience is different, so Memphis and GS is behind us. Now our focus is on Denver, and we can't go into this series saying, okay, this is what we did last series or the series before. That's water under the bridge. So our challenge is upon us tomorrow night, and we got to be ready for it.
Is the altitude real? Do you feel it, and how so?
It is real.
How does it impact you and others?
You get tired a lot faster than you would if you wasn't in it.
In the first quarter, or is it throughout the game?
It's pretty much in the first quarter, a little bit in the second. The good thing about a playoff series, you're here for a few days, so it's just like when you go from East Coast to West Coast and the time difference. Makes you just sleep up for a couple of days, but then you get adjusted to it.
LeBron, you talked about kind of progressing through the different levels of the playoffs, level 1, level 2, level 3. What's the biggest difference between level 3 and level 2 that you're trying to communicate to the guys?
As hard as we thought level 2 was, it's going to be even harder, this round. And that doesn't take anything away from GS because that was, I know I've had my battles with that franchise, so I know how hard it is. But as you continue to get up into the numbers, like you said, level 3 is just a very difficult challenge. Both teams are, one step away from having an opportunity to play for what they started in the beginning of the year, and that's to play for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So it becomes very challenging.
You guys have made a couple of big adjustments within the course of the series. Just wonder what it's been like with you and the coaching staff. You get in the film room. All right, this is what we saw on the floor in this game. How much of that are you and Darvin and the coaching staff going back and forth?
That's what it's all about. Being able to make adjustments in between games and within the game as well. Because you come into a series, everyone knows everyone. It's not like you come in with new offensive sets and new defensive sets and things of that nature and new personnel. It's the same personnel that's been there, but being able to make adjustments, timely adjustments within the game, in between games is very helpful to both, for our ball club.
Going up against Coach Malone.
Lonnie, first time in this setting. What's your message to the young guys that haven't been this far before?
A little close. Just enjoy it. Have fun with it. And, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. It's basketball. Go out and play. We're all here for a reason. Obviously we got we got an opportunity to be great, and that's what we want to do. And we want to, showcase why we should be here in the West Conference Finals and go out and perform at a high level.
Going up against Coach Malone again, how much?
Go out and perform at a high level. So this is a rematch of the 2020 bubble. The biggest difference, well, one of them is KCP was on the Lakers at that point. He's on the Nuggets now. But Jalen, when you're looking at this rematch, what do you see as the biggest difference?
The biggest difference is the Joker wasn't a 2-time MVP at that point of his career. And also, he wasn't in consideration for being like one of the most dominant bigs that we have seen.
Right.
It's one thing to give us the 30-plus points it's another thing to give us the triple doubles to make people around you better. And what they've done is build a terrific team around him since then of guys that play defense, make open shots, are cutters. So you add an Aaron Gordon to go with Michael Porter Jr. You mentioned KCP and Brown coming in off the bench. So the Joker, and then Murray. He was extremely confident and playing very well in the bubble. He dealt with some injuries these last couple of years.
Yeah.
Both of these guys are back healthy. The Nuggets are legit #1 seed, and they're probably the favorite to win this series.
The Denver team is much better than they were in the bubble. Like, we could talk about Jokic's improvement. If one person I would say is Jamal Murray. He's a person that hasn't improved because he's been injured, but he's gotten back to the level that he once was at, where he's basically an all-star out there. And so when I look at the rest of their unit, where I look at what the difference with the Lakers had the bigs.
Yep.
They had JaVale McGee. They had Dwight Howard. They could allow Anthony Davis to roam and just have those guys. Lakers don't have that. And so for me, the biggest question is who's going to guard Jokic, right? Because now you're like, okay, is it going to be Bron? Is it going to be Vanderbilt? Is it going to be AD? Because that's the biggest difference. I think this Denver team is better. I think they have more quality depth. When I look at this Laker team is very, very good. But one area in which they were able to really impact the series was their bigs. Dwight Howard was a lot bigger in that series than I think people give him credit for. JaVale McGee, they had depth big that allowed Dwight Howard to not play the 5, which we know he doesn't like to. Playing the 4, and they don't have that right now.
Safety AD.
They do not have that. And so that, to me, is the biggest question when I watch this series, which is different from in 2020. Who is going to guard Jokic, and how are they going to guard him? That's, to me, is the biggest question in this series.
We don't have to wait to hear those questions answered very long because it goes down tomorrow night. Perkins is joining us now. And Perk, I know you have been calling this a long time. Before it became a reality, you're going to have plenty of time to gloat to both me and Richard Jefferson in just a little bit. But let's start with this. 24 seconds on the clock, my friend. The Lakers will win it this year because why?
Well, one, defense win championships, and they have the best defensive team left in this postseason. They have been the best defensive team. They have the best defensive player in Anthony Davis. They have the best leader in LeBron James. And when the game get close or when it's winning time, LeBron has shown that he's capable of being the best player on the floor. Also, their role players in Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell have elevated their games.
I think that was like 27 seconds, but I'm going to go with it. The Lakers have a plus 300 odds to win the NBA title, Perk, but they're going to have their hands full in the Western Conference Finals because they face a Denver team that has been the #1 seed since December 20th, Richard Jefferson. You can see their odds to win the title, the second shortest of any team, but they will win because why?
I think the Denver Nuggets are going to win because they are the most well-balanced team yet. When I look at Jamal Murray, when I look at Michael Porter Jr., when I look at Aaron Gordon and his contributions, again, when you have Christian Brown, when you have Bruce Brown, when you have all of these guys that are combining and playing elite basketball, I think that they are the best, most complete team. Like, we could talk about the Golden State Warriors, and that was a huge win for the Lakers. Not to discredit, but they had been going through things all year long. So that wasn't the best version of them, and even Steve Kerr said, we're not a championship team. This Denver Nuggets team has been the #1 seed all year long. They're a championship level team.
It's going to be a real test, but we're not going to have to wait too long, Richard, to see who is going to jump out to a lead in this series because you can see the schedule right here. And this is one that they're going to play every other day. It gets underway tomorrow on ESPN. But then we will see who a champion comes out of the West, which one is crowned. But then in the East, we have a true underdog story here, Jalen Rose, because Miami on the brink of elimination, right? And then they come all the way back. And now they're fighting for the crown to come out of the East. Why can they win it all?
I get the true underdog. So obviously you're going to need Jimmy Butler to be the best player performing, remaining in the playoffs. You're going to need a consistent Bam Adebayo, rebounding, dominating the paint and knocking down his 15-foot shot. They have the best coach in the game, in my opinion, in Eric Spoelstra, who they should give him a statue because they got 9 undrafted players. They're doing this without Tyler Hero. They're doing this without Victor Oladipo. They're going to need some help. Dwayne Wade, is he available? He's still in shape?
Well, I know he doesn't want to be
Alonzo Mourning?
You're just a buzzer beater.
No doubt about it. I mean, this is what it's going to take.
Look at the hairline.
They're going to need some Herculean efforts from these guys in their prime because they are 3% chance according to ESPN odds.
Ooh, 3%
to win
chance.
it all.
That's it. Jimmy Butler has been excellent in these playoffs, potentially the best player so far in the postseason.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.